Today is a chair workout. So some of the exercises we're going to do is going to be seated, some standing. So do what you feel comfortable with. A lot of these can be modified. And of course, get your doctor's approval if you don't already before you start any kind of exercise program. Okay, so let's get started. So some of these exercises are going to be also good for balance, not just exercising the whole body. Because I want to hit all the body parts if we can in this workout and give you some good ideas so you could do some of these chair exercises on your own at home, or if you're traveling and that kind of thing. But you do want a good sturdy chair. So on this first one, my leg that's closest to the chair, I'm going to be standing on that one with the knee slightly bent. That'll help with balance. I want to hold this, but not white knuckle it. Don't squeeze it as hard as you can, because the more you squeeze this, the less it's going to help with balance. My other leg, I'm going to bring up to neutral. This is where I want to return every time. So I'm going to extend outward towards you, pull back. Extend towards the side, pull back once again to neutral, behind me, and back up to neutral. So you typically want to do anywhere from 5 to 6 of these per side. Once again, always coming back to neutral. And if you notice, my leg weighs something. Everybody's does. So that's why when I extend forward, I lean back slightly to compensate the weight of my leg. When I go to the side, I lean over some, bring it back to neutral when I don't need to compensate anymore. And then behind me, I'm leaning forward and back up. And what this does is it helps to work the muscles supposed to be working without your stabilizers, like your back. You don't want to really overdo that. Your back, if you're pretty active, is going to get lots of exercising throughout the day, mainly as a stabilizer, or if you do a lot of lifting. And I don't mean lifting weights, but just lifting things. So if you typically overdo your back by making it work harder than it should, your back's not going to be happy. On this exercise, we're going to do squats. There's a couple of different ways I'm going to show you. On this one, we're going to do it standing behind the chair. So I prefer a little bit wider of a stance so it hits more of the hamstrings and glutes. The more narrow you go, the more it's going to put pressure on the quads, which isn't necessarily bad. However, if your knees aren't the most healthy, or they've been injured, you're recovering from surgery, then you might want to be careful with having your feet too close together. So for me, it's a little bit wider than the chair. Keep my chin up, butt back. So I'm not going to lean so far back where I feel like I'm going to fall. However, I don't want to go knees forward. So my hands are just gently on top of the chair, go down as far as I feel comfortable, pressing against the ground, using these legs, quads, hamstrings, glutes, even the calves kick in and work some. So once again, down as far as I feel comfortable and up. And the pacing is typically roughly, 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up. That way you don't go too fast or too slow. However, it is safer to go slow. However, if you go too slow and you get stuck down here, now you could have some issues. So you want to go fast enough where you could get back up. But once again, on this one here, you're going to do 10 to 15 reps. I would also do 3 to 4 sets of each. So 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up. And also rest 30 seconds to a minute in between. Kind of depends on your cardiovascular function now. You might be very winded, so if you are, just give yourself a little bit more rest in between sets. On the seated chair exercise, we're going to do a number of different ones, but on this one, we're going to use one that does some coordination and helps with that. So I'm going to cross my arms, doesn't matter which one's on top, and then as I turn to one side or the other, I'm going to lift the opposite leg. And then back down. So I'm not crisscrossing like this because I don't want to tweak my back. It may not tweak your back at all, but I'm just going to stay elevated like this as opposed to turning. Those are other exercises, but I've done it in a previous video. I could still do it in this one. But arms up, once again, doesn't matter which one's on top. As I turn to my left, I'm gonna raise my left leg up, down gently, same thing to the other side. Little rotation like this, focusing on trying to get the leg up as high as you feel comfortable. Nice and controlled motion. Once again, anywhere from 10 to 15 per side, and you're golden. On the next one, what I wanna do, I could still do that little bit of twist. I'm gonna have one hand, this is my right arm behind my right head. I'm gonna aim this elbow to the opposite knee, just like that. Still works the core, still works my quads, but now it's gonna involve a little bit more of the obliques and a little bit more coordination. Same thing on the other side. Typically you want to breathe in, exhale as you crunch. Breathe in, exhale as you crunch. Once again, there's no real magic number, but I would shoot for 10 to 15 reps. That way it will strengthen the muscles some, also help with the muscular endurance. All right, on this one, we're gonna leave the upper body out of the equation, so you could grab the side of the chair if you need to for stability, and just raise like a marching in place, as high as you feel comfortable. What this one does, it's gonna work the quadriceps and your ab muscles. Now you could try to do it hands-free. Takes a little bit of balance, but not much. But if you want to have that security, you could just hold the side of the chair and raise your legs up and down, just like this. Not too quickly, but it's kind of like a marching in place exercise. On this exercise, it's a modified mountain climber. So not all these exercises might be suitable for you, but you could do the best you can on the ones you feel comfortable with. So what I want to do on this one is have a good secure hand placement here, feet out. Now what I'm going to do is just raise my knee towards my hands. And in this case, I'm keeping my hands, or not my hands, I'm keeping my knees on the inside part of my wrists or hands. Now on the variation of this, what I can do is stick all with one side, go with this knee towards the opposite wrist or elbow. Keeping the core engaged, nice and controlled motion. Now right now, as you notice, I'm touching the floor with my foot. To make it a little tougher, if I don't touch, all that does is keep the tension on the muscle, makes it a little bit more difficult. Another good exercise. For another variation of this one, kind of a mountain climber, kind of not, but what I still want to do is have both hands here on the chair, core is engaged, and this one's called the fire hydrant, so I want to bring this knee on the outside part of my wrist and elbow, but without hitting myself. Keeping the knee up high, hence the fire hydrant. Now the key on this one is not to over-rotate and torque the back, but to keep the core engaged, knee up high, and don't get overzealous and smack yourself. But same thing applies. If it feels a little too easy when you come back and touch the floor, don't touch the floor. Just keep the knee up, level, or as best you can, towards the wrist or elbow. Another good one for the core. Helps with balance because it is working a lot of stabilizer muscles. Another good exercise. This one's gonna work the quads, mainly as a stabilizer of the other leg, hamstrings, glutes, and balance because it uses a lot of stabilizers. So I'm still gonna be in the mountain climber position or a push-up position. So what I want to do is keep my body in a straight line, raise this leg up like I'm trying to tap the ceiling with my heel. So it's a good one, once again, because it uses all these stabilizer muscles. The next one I'm going to show you is a variation of this one in case this one, is a little too spooky for you or you just can't do it, whatever the case may be. No big deal, do what you can. And this one's gonna be the variation of what I just did. So the variation of this one, I'm still holding onto the chair. I'm not gonna lean forward, but just raise my leg back. Once again, I'm aiming my heel towards the wall behind me as opposed to pointing my toe. So posture's nice and tall, heel back. Now you might go in a partial, like a half circle. It all depends on what your hip is like. So I try to go straight back, but I do have a little giddy up because my hip, so I come out just a little bit because that's the comfortable, normal range of motion for my body. But as you can tell, I'm not going super fast. Like the tempo of the other exercises, it's a 1, 2, 3 back, 1, 2, 3 as you come back forward. Just like that. Now on this exercise, my feet are going to be close together. I'm going to do what's called heels up, toes up, because an important muscle or muscles for walking are the ones from the knee down. So as high as you feel comfortable, control the descent, raising those toes up, down, up, and back down. So the goal isn't to try to get your toes up as high as you feel comfortable, with the exception of if you try to do too hard, you step your butt back, it could make it potentially dangerous for you. So you still want to maintain good posture, still go through the most range of motion you can comfortably, but without rocking the body too much. Just like that. On this one, to make it a little bit more challenging, still going to work the legs and the abs, I'm going to scoot forward a little bit in the chair, keep the core engaged, go back until my shoulder blades are touching the back of the chair. Raise one leg up, bring that knee towards my chest, extend outwardly, and repeat that motion. Now to make this one a little bit more challenging, you could have both legs up and do it. For some, this is a little too much pressure on the back, which is fine, meaning don't do it that way. So you could do alternating one at a time, like so, or alternating where you do one up, down, and do it this way. Both are effective for the legs and the core, but do what you feel comfortable with. If you start to feel in your back too much, it's working your back a little too much then, so discontinue that one or try an easier variation of it. Well, these are a few exercises to keep you busy for your workout routine, either at home or if you're on the go. If you like more exercises or would prefer a follow-along workout while I go through all the reps with you, just let me know in the comment box below, and I'll be more than happy to make a video and help you out. And yeah, keep the suggestions coming. It gives me ideas for the channel and more videos to make that you guys want to see. So let me know. All right, have a great day, guys.